version.
Who were your favorite fighters coming up?
We liked a lot Canelo. Canelo was, and it's one of my favorite athletes. Yeah, I learned so much from him.
Why Canelo? Technical skills?
Technical skills. I learned, like, we were watching his videos, his training footage, like everything, and we were inspired us a lot.
Yeah.
If I prepare for 6 months, like only boxing, I don't do anything about wrestling, about grappling, whatever. Only boxing, bro, put me whoever you want in front of me. Whoever. And I hear a lot of guys talking about, like, boxers. No, Ilia, he has a good boxing, but for MMA, but he has nothing to do with me in the boxing ring. I'm like, listen, you don't have anything to do with me outside, inside, whatever you want. Like, what you want to do. I know how good I am in boxing. I train every day boxing, every day. That's part of my life.
Who were your favorite fighters coming up? We liked a lot Canelo. Canelo was, and it's one of my favorite athletes. Yeah, I learned so much from him. Why Canelo? Technical skills. Technical skills. I learned like we were watching his videos, his training for like everything. And we were trying to copy that, to repeat that. He inspired us a lot. Yeah. If I prepare for 6 months, like only boxing. I don't do anything about wrestling, about grappling, whatever. Only boxing, bro, put me whoever you want in front of me, whoever. And I hear a lot of guys talking about like boxers. No, he has a good boxing for MMA, but he has nothing to do with me in the boxing ring. I'm like, listen, you don't have anything to do with me outside, inside, whatever you want. Like, what you want to do. I know how good I am in boxing. I train every day boxing every day. That's part of my life. Canelo Alvarez praises Ilia Topuria for mimicking his style, showing the world his eyes are on Crawford and not the rising star. Ilia start training in jiu-jitsu and he become a jiu-jitsu master, but they don't have like a boxing coach or like any striking coach or kickboxing anything like that. And him and his brother was studying Canelo Alvarez, and his brother was holding pets like he can Alvarez coach and they was ripping Alvarez the combinations and the thousands of times and they teach to jiu-jitsu coach learn to how to hold the pads like Canelo Alvarez like he was hitting. Wow. Canelo Alvarez is preparing for what is expected to be one of the biggest boxing events in recent history, a showdown with Terence Crawford. However, in a press conference leading up to this much-anticipated clash, Canelo was asked about another potential matchup. This time against Ilia Topuria. His response, though casual, caught the attention of many fans and pundits. Canelo, despite not being overly familiar with Topuria's full fight resume, expressed genuine admiration for him. The Mexican legend praised Topuria, stating that he loved, respected, and admired the fighter for incorporating aspects of Canelo's own fighting style into his own game. However, Canelo, ever the focused professional, made it clear that his eyes were firmly set on Crawford as he emphasized the need to first address the task at hand before thinking of any future bouts. But while Canelo's stance on a potential Topuria matchup might seem respectful, it's clear that the focus is on Crawford, and the stakes have never been higher. For many, Crawford represents a challenge that no other fighter has posed in recent years, primarily due to the Nebraska fighter's unmatched boxing IQ and versatility. Yet opinions vary greatly about how this fight will unfold. If Canelo couldn't knock out Charlo, you really think that he's going to knock out Crawford? I would pick Terence Crawford to beat a Canelo Alvarez even at 168. Everybody can call me crazy and whatever you want to say. I get it. Y'all didn't believe me when I told you about Spence, but trust me, Crawford will figure out a way. I know a secret y'all don't know and I ain't gonna tell you, why I would pick Terence Crawford, but it's part of the secret is the reason why I'm picking him to win the fight. So Shane Mosley, the legendary former champion, weighed in on the fight, stating that Canelo's physical advantages would likely prove insurmountable for Crawford. Mosley pointed out that while Crawford is an exceptional boxer, he might be too small for a man of Canelo's size and power. Mosley also acknowledged Crawford's willingness to fight, but he believed that once the two fighters start exchanging blows, the weight and physicality of Canelo will likely overpower Crawford. He made an apt comparison to Air Khan's experience when he moved up in weight to fight Canelo, ultimately suffering a devastating knockout. Mosley's point was clear. Crawford might be a great fighter at 140 and 147 pounds, but stepping up to 168 pounds might be a different beast entirely. Canelo too big for Crawford. I think that the reason why if Crawford was a mover like the rest of them maybe he can have a good chance, but I think that being Crawford is a fighter. That's going to be dangerous. That's going to be his problem. He's a fighter. He wants to fight and he's going to move a little bit, but his heart is not in moving. So he's going to have to sit there and fight with Canelo. If you sit there and fight with he's that much bigger than you, then I don't know, but everybody think Crawford, he's a great boxer, he's this, he's that, which he's a great fighter, and I think he's a great fighter at 147. David Benves, the undefeated WBC World Light Heavyweight Champion, offered his take, providing an interesting contrast to Mosley's predictions, while he also agreed that Canelo's size and power would be difficult for Crawford to overcome. Benves acknowledged that Crawford has the skill set to pose serious problems for the Mexican. Benves, known for his own aggressive style, conceded that Crawford's technical brilliance and fight IQ were on another level, but questioned if those qualities would be enough against a fighter who is just so much bigger and stronger. Benves did not dismiss the possibility of Crawford pulling off an upset, but he added that he wouldn't be surprised if Canelo proved to be too much regardless of how the fight played out. According to Benves, a fighter's resolve would be tested when up against someone like Canelo. Terence Crawford, does he have an opportunity to beat Canelo? I think if anybody has a chance to beat Canelo, I think it's Terence Crawford. His IQ is on another level. He's a great fighter and he's strong. It's just that it's a lot of weight. I wouldn't be surprised if Terence Crawford wins. Wouldn't be surprised if he loses either. Terence Crawford, when he went up against the best opposition like Earl Spence, he showed what level he's on, what type of dog he is. So, I don't know. You really have to let these fights play out to see what happens. He might get hurt. That might activate him to come back strong. Could you still make 68? I don't want to make 68. No, I don't. Terence wins 68. Yeah. Well, if that's yeah. Yeah. I can make 168. Oscar de la Hoya, the man who brought Canelo into the limelight with his Golden Boy promotions, had a clear view on how the fight might unfold. Despite their rocky relationship, de la Hoya remains one of the most experienced figures in the boxing world, and his opinion on the Canelo-Crawford matchup carries weight. De la Hoya sees Crawford as a technically gifted boxer, but he believes that Canelo's raw power and physical presence will be too much to overcome in the latter stages of the fight. In De La Hoya's eyes, the first half of the fight might see Crawford controlling the pace with his sharp boxing. But as the rounds go by, Canelo's relentless pressure will likely start to wear Crawford down. By the latter rounds, De La Hoya predicts that Canelo's power will be the deciding factor, potentially leading to a TKO or stoppage. Let's take it back to last week when this photo was taken of Canelo and Crawford having dinner together. They're best friends. I love you, man. Like they were family friends. I mean, can you imagine Muhammad Ali or like Joe Frazier having dinner together? Can you imagine Mike Tyson and Mitch Green before a brawl? What the, __A, no boxing fan wants to see two fighters having dinner together. We could have a dinner on Wednesday night. We want bad blood. We want anticipation. We want to feel like an actual war is about to happen. And caviar and champagne together while they're staging their trilogy. Jesus Christ. Alright, so after their dinner date together, Canelo and Crawford set on the press tour that I think started in Riyadh, New York, and Vegas. So here's a clip. I'm very excited for this fight. We'll see. We'll see. That's lame, right? That is so lame. Oh, and Canelo elaborated on his career plans. Maybe you will see me in the WWE. Okay, great, Canelo. But please, first, before you fight The Undertaker, can you please fight David Ben? And here's the moment where the script told them to shove each other. I mean, come on. Anybody else not buying this? Everybody got time for this? Crawford, if you want to actually make Canelo mad, just tell the truth about him and his tainted meats. Yet, not everyone is so quick to dismiss Crawford's chances. Hamza Shiraz, a rising British middleweight, believes that the jump in weight could be too much for Crawford to handle. Shiraz, who knows firsthand the challenges of facing physically superior fighters, pointed out that while Crawford's skill and talent are undeniable, moving up to 168 pounds to fight a powerhouse like Canelo could be a recipe for disaster. Shiraz's concern is that despite Crawford's speed and ring IQ, the raw power of Canelo might be something he's simply not equipped to deal with. My kind of perspective on that fight is I feel like number one, there's a weight class for reasons. And I like if we're basing it off their last performances, Canelo had the better performance, I believe, even though he had a negative fight in front of him. And I feel like Crawford struggled a little bit with Madramov's, physicality. Yeah, he was very physical and I feel like he struggled a little bit with it. And then you got to remember Canelo is a big dude. He's a big dude. He's strong. He knows how to use his size. But then at the same time at that level, you can't write off fighters like Crawford because he's so skillful. So him going up 2 weights, he could defy the odds because he's a generational great. But if I had to kind of put my money on it, I'd put my money on Canelo Alvarez to win via stoppage.